so I don't have as many French films as I thought I did. But we might as well start with the Godard films. So aside from the ones I showed you already, looks like I only have 2 here. I took French for 2 years, so let me try to pronounce these wonderfully. Pierrot le Faux, Vivre sa vie. That's fine. French accent and pronunciation. I'm a little out of practice. Sorry. But so this Godard film, Vivre sa vie. There's the cover art for you. This is about a prostitute in Paris, played by Anna Karina, who was Godard's wife or girlfriend. I know they at least dated, but can't remember if they got married. I've only seen this movie once. I don't really have a lot to talk about it. This other one, Pierrot le Faux. I haven't seen this movie at all, to be honest, so I don't have anything to talk about this one. But there's the cover art for you. Now why don't we talk about looks like the only other Truffaut film I had, I know I said I'm not a big Truffaut fan, is Jules et Jim, or Jules and Jim. Jules et Jim. Another movie I've only seen once. Didn't have a huge impact on me. But apparently I need to watch it again because it's held in very high regard for Truffaut. So let's talk about my only Melville film. Jean-Pierre Melville? Yeah, Jean-Pierre Melville. So this movie is Le Samurai. There you go. And this is a really cool movie. It's not even 2 hours long, made in 1967. And Melville was an influential director in the French New Wave, although I don't think he ever made a French New Wave film except for maybe Bob le Flambeur. But this one is about a hitman in Paris, and it's really cool how minimalist his life is, his lifestyle is. He lives in a little dingy apartment in Paris, and he steals cars. He's a car thief, and also a hitman as well. And in his dingy little apartment, he has a bird cage with a little bird in it, and he has 2 suits, and I think maybe 1 or 2 hats, and a Burberry trench coat. And the only cars he steals in it are Citroëns. And if you go through movies like I have, you'll notice 2 cars in particular. You'll notice the Citroën and the Jaguar E-Type. And he falls in love with a black woman, a singer, and I think she's based off of Josephine Baker. And it's called Le Samurai because it's very inspired by Japanese samurai films. So, what else do we have? There's another movie I haven't seen at all yet. This is a long movie. It's 185 minutes, made in 1986, called Betty Blue. Let's see if I can get a good exposure on that. It's a little bright. Sorry, folks. I'm new to this. But I haven't seen this movie yet. As you probably know, every November and July, I think, Barnes & Noble has a big half-off sale for Criterion films. And so every birthday and Christmas I get like a big stack of Criterion movies, and sometimes when I just hear about a movie I should see, I decide to get it. And I heard about this one on a podcast. A comedian by the name of Adam Friedland recommended it. So, here's a nice little short movie. Black Girl. This was made by Ousmane Sembène, who was a Senegalese filmmaker. It's in French, set in Senegal and France. And this is the only African filmmaker I know about. And this is a really cool movie. It's only an hour long, and it's about this black girl from a Senegalese village who is taken to France. I don't know if it's Paris per se, to be the housekeeper in this couple's apartment. And it's an interesting take on race. I mean, it was made in 1966, so you could imagine it would have racial themes. I mean, made by a black man in a French-speaking country in Africa, Senegal. That's a really nice, stylistic movie. I don't have any more of his movies, but I would like to, because he's pretty cool. La Planète Sauvage. Fantastic Planet. So this is a movie I think I saw it in high school. A friend of mine, he recommended this movie to me way back then, and I think I had to watch it on YouTube at the time. But I didn't like watching movies on YouTube back then, and I still don't, but I do sometimes. But anyways, this movie, it's an animated film made by René Laloux. And it's only 72 minutes long, made in 1973. And the soundtrack to this is really cool. I'd like to get that on vinyl. I've yet to do that. Not a lot to talk about this movie, although the Criterion edition, I know, has another little short film made by the same filmmaker, and that's pretty cool. Actually, it has two shorts, but I think one might not be animated. But the animation style in this is really interesting. It's a lot like the Monty Python animations from those movies, if you remember. So this movie, La Haine, which I think means the hate. Can you see that? This was recommended by Barry Jenkins in his Criterion Closet picks. It was made in 1995, a little over an hour and a half long, black and white, French, and It's set the day after a big protest in Paris, and follows the contemporary youth, or the postmodern youth of Paris. So they're very influenced by hip-hop culture. And that's interesting because I never really, when I think of Paris, I never really thought of the postmodern world. You know, you think about pre-war Paris a lot, or at least I do. But anyways, this is a cool movie directed by Matthew Kassovitz. And I don't know a whole lot about this special features. Looks like there's a documentary about the making of it. Oh no, it brings the cast together after a decade of this film's release. And the Criterion edition comes with at least one essay written by a film critic or historian. You can see that. But it's a cool movie. Barry Jenkins said when he was in film school, this was the movie you would watch on the weekends with a few beers at a friend's house. I remember hearing that and thinking, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I was in film school? But I'm not. Anyways, let's get into some box sets. The complete Jacques Tati box set. So the movie's in here. Backwards. Jour de fête, which I think means a day of party, I think. Anyway, Jacques Tati was a slapstick-style comedian and filmmaker. He directed these movies. And there's one in here that's... Okay. So this one, Parade. This is a like a show, like a on-stage show with an audience that he recorded. And then I think these two are my favorites. Traffic and Playtime. So the character that Tati created is named Monsieur Hulot. And he kind of reminds me of a Charlie Chaplin, although I guess he's not as animated, not as stunt or gag oriented. So this box set comes with looks like 4 features, some shorts, and then this one I showed you, the stage show, and a little booklet. So I'll show you. These were all made in the 50s and 60s. These were made between 1949 and 1974. So there's the cover art for the box set. And here's the cover art for each film. Mon oncle. my uncle. Sorry. There we go. Monsieur Hulot's Holiday. See that? You think about doing a YouTube channel, and everyone else makes it look so easy. That's why they're the professionals, I guess. So, that brings us to the first Eclipse series that I have. Does that pick up? Agnès Varda. Agnès Varda. Agnès Varda in California. Anyways, so these are a series of documentaries that Agnès, that Varda did in California. Although actually they're not all documentaries. These are all made between 1967 and 1981. But anyways, so this one's pretty cool. Pick up. Come on. Uncle Yanko. So this is about a Greek immigrant who lives, I guess on the wharf, or fisherman's wharf, I don't know. He lives in a houseboat in the bay. And that's only 20 minutes long. And then there's a Black Panthers documentary that she did. Come on. Come on. Okay. And it's called Black Panthers. This was in 1968. Very tense year. And it's a half an hour long. And it's about Huey Newton was in jail, and they're trying to get him out of jail, protesting him. The Black Panthers protesting his arrest. And what's interesting about the Black Panthers documentary, is you see a lot of the activists reading Mao, and did they really understand Mao? Who knows? So this is a feature. I don't want to give away too much of the cover art, although it is really cool. But there's a little bit of nudity in there. And this is called Lions, Love, and Lies. Made in 1969. 112 minutes. And it's about a menage a trois. And the woman in this is a woman named Viva. And I've seen her a lot in a lot of movies from the 60s. I think she was part of the Andy Warhol scene. She was in Chelsea Girls and Midnight Cowboy. Oh, and she was in Play It Again, Sam. But yeah, it's set in Los Angeles, and it's a pretty cool movie. I need to watch this again. Then these two, Murmurs, or Murmur, is about the murals in Los Angeles, and public art street art, that kind of thing. And then there's another one called Documentaire. And I haven't seen these two as much as the other ones. But I think Documentaire is supposed to be a little autobiographical. But the mural documentary was made in 1980, and it's 82 minutes. Documentaire was made in 1981, and it's 65 minutes. So anyways. So, even though I talked about Ousmane Sembène, those have mostly been French filmmakers, but here's another Eclipse series of DVDs. And this one is Chantal Akerman in the 70s. And another one, The Piano Teacher by Michael Haneke. Chantal Akerman was a Belgian filmmaker. Michael Haneke is an Austrian filmmaker, sorry. But these are in French. Even though this is set in Austria. And these are set in mostly in Belgium, but I think one of them is set in New York. Anyways. So these are really interesting. Chantal Akerman's are. Let's talk about those. La Chambre. The first one is La Chambre. So, the first one, La Chambre, is only 11 minutes long, made in 1972, and it's a silent film just showing the furniture and clutter of her apartment. And then the next one is called Hotel Monterey. Let me see if you can pick up on some of this cover art. Maybe I'll have to insert some another way. But anyways, so the next one, Hotel Monterey, is she's in a hotel in Manhattan just with her camera filming what goes on in the lobby. And that one's an hour long. Longer than I thought, than I remember at least. And then the last one in this DVD is News from Home, where Chantal reads letters from her mother with some shots in New York. So I guess she was living there at the time, but what's really cool about these movies are you can tell she was, man, does it pick up? Pull it back a little. What's really cool about these movies is that you can tell she just got her hands on a camera and some film and just decided to start shooting some things because she wanted to be a filmmaker. And these are really inspirational to me. That's better, isn't it? These are really inspirational to me because a lot of times as an up-and-coming filmmaker myself, I go to YouTube and whatnot to look for advice by big filmmakers, and a lot of them say just shoot something. That's one of the first pieces of advice they give, is to just shoot something. And yeah, some really nice stuff in here. Just her really figuring out composition. So the next one, Je, tu, il, elle. This is a film that Chantal made in 1975. It's 86 minutes long, and it's her first feature. And starts out her alone, naked, in a barren apartment, eating spoonfuls of sugar out of a brown paper bag. And it has a voiceover. I mean, in typical French style, a lot of French movies have voiceovers. And then she has lesbian sex with a woman, and then meets a man at a bar and has sex with him. And this is a really cool movie because it's only three characters and very short. And you can tell she was going to be a really good filmmaker by this movie. Very creative, minimalistic. You know, when you see a lot of like student films, you'll notice how small the cast is. And the locations are usually just in your apartment or your dorm room or whatever. And I think she did that very well in this movie. It's called Je, tu, il, elle. I, you, he, she. So the last one, I don't really remember this one that much. It's called Les Rendezvous d'Anna, or Donna. Les Rendezvous d'Anna. Made in 1978, over 2 hours long, a little bit over 2 hours long. And I think it's about a woman who goes back to Brussels and visits her mother. Can't remember this one that much, but another very small cast. But I wonder if this was her second feature. I don't know. If it is, noticing directors have a bigger cast as their projects go forward, as their career goes forward. I mean, that's really something to note. Although, another one of my favorite filmmakers, Robert Eggers, he's my favorite filmmaker from my generation, millennials. But his first feature had a bigger cast. His second feature had 2 characters and then some characters that were imagined, but anyways. So the last one, The Piano Teacher. And this is a very good representation, I think, of borderline personality disorder. So this was made in 2001, over 2 hours long. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. And sorry about that, my battery died. I am, after all, an amateur. But anyways, I was talking about this movie by Michael Haneke, The Piano Teacher, and how it's a really good representation of borderline personality disorder. So this very uptight piano teacher in Austria. What's the capital of Austria? Anyway, in the capital of Austria, she puts on a little recital, and she's a performer in it. A private recital at somebody's apartment, or a private concert, I guess I should say. And this jocular blonde man is in the audience, and you can tell he's taken aback by her. And he goes to find her at her music school. And this woman lives with her mother, and it's revealed that in her day-to-day life she cuts herself on the thighs with a razor blade. She also visits adult toy stores, sex shops where they have booths that you can put a quarter in or whatever, tokens, and watch pornography. And she likes to do that, and she'll take used tissues out of the little trash can and smells them while she's watching hardcore pornography. So you can tell she self-mutilates, and she sort of acts out sexually. And she's also very reserved and cold towards other people, which are which are symptoms of borderline personality disorder. But anyways, so this man starts courting her, and she's very, very reticent about accepting him. But then, at some point, with his persistence, she folds, and she invites him to her apartment, where her and her mother live, and locks herself in her room, and tells her that if he's gonna have a relationship with her, that he wants her to abuse her, abuse her sexually. And so she becomes obsessed with him. That's another borderline trait. And at some point during this recital with her students, she sees him flirting with, or just talking to, really, with one of her students. And so a music student who relies on her hands to perform. But anyways, so what she does is she goes into the coat room and takes a glass and wraps it up in some kind of cloth and stomps on it, then pours the glass into her coat pocket, so that when she puts her hands in her pocket, her hands will be ruined and she can't play. And you can watch it for yourself and see how the whole thing plays out. But this is a really cool movie. Very good movie. But yeah, so it's in French. Everybody speaks French, but it's set in Austria by an Austrian filmmaker. So that's why I put it off to the end, after Chantal Akerman. But anyway, so those are the French films. And next I'll move on to the Italian films. And like the French films, I don't have as many Italian films as I thought I did. But anyways, stick to.